Dangerous for Torquay. Still not cleared. It is now, though. Nice ball from Reed, found Simon Shaw. For a moment, it looked as if Torquay were in real problems. Atkinson. Good shot by Blake. And just wide. Well, the move initially was created by Brian Atkinson. He played the ball inside to Robbie Blake, and Blake's effort just wide. Here's Winter. Nice work by Atkinson. Well, John Gittins is going to have to hurry, and that's dangerous. And in the end, John Gittins, who almost presented Darren Roberts with a goal, saved the day for Torquay. Gittins playing the ball far too wide for Wilmot to get, but he saved the day, stopping Darren Roberts' shot becoming a certain goal. Lovely skill by Cars. Here's Twynham. Blake. Twynham again. And that is an equaliser. It's as simple as that. Darren Roberts it was who got the final touch. But the goal was created by Gary Twynham. Nice bit of work by Gary Twynham. Super cross. And what about that for a finish? Torquay 1, Darlington 1. Oatway. Hinshelwood goes charging in. Cars gets the ball. Here's danger for Torquay. Roberts. Gittins goes to help out, still with Roberts. Great defensive work by John Gittins. He saved Torquay in the first half, and he's done equally as well in the second. Winter's got Hinshelwood on that far side. Nice work by Oatway. Atkinson, can Stamps get in there? Yes, he can. Here's a chance for Thomas. Well, the youngster could have made a name for himself there. Scott Stamps showing a lot of determination to get that ball across. And Wayne Thomas will be disappointed with that finish. Oatway. Nelson's onside. Here's a chance for Thomas. Well cleared in the end by Andy Crosby. And Torquay have a corner. Less than 4 minutes to go. That looks dangerous. It's gone in! Andy Hinshelwood has scored. Well, he hasn't, because the referee claimed that Paul Newell was pushed. Well, the Torquay players seem as confused as most as the crowd. It looked as if Hinshelwood had put Torquay 2-1 up. All in vain, I'm afraid. Well, that's it here at Plainmoor. It's finished Torquay United 1, Darlington 1. You started off so well, and then it all seemed to fall away.
Yes, we seem to have a habit of doing this season, and you know, we changed our tactics slightly. We wanted to go a little bit more direct because we know Darlington are a football inside. They like to get it down and get it from the keeper, and we thought we'd go a little bit more direct, hit the channels, and get them turned. And like you've just said, the first 15-20 minutes, we had them under pressure for quite a period of time, and unfortunately, the goal came from that. And but then once we got the goal, we seemed to sort of have a habit of sort of sitting back and inviting opposition to come back into the game and put ourselves under pressure.
So both Torquay and Exeter in the bottom third of the table, 4 points between them. Exeter 6 ahead of bottom club Brighton and the dreaded drop zone. Well, Torquay are back in action on Tuesday. They've dropped into the bottom half of the table, but with 2 draws in the past week, perhaps 1 or 2 signs that they've turned the corner. Well, yesterday they travelled north to Scarborough. It's 2 months since Torquay last won, and it was another day when sloppy defending proved extremely costly. The writing was on the wall in the early stages as they failed to deal convincingly with Scarborough's first-half efforts. It was no real surprise when the home side took the lead in the 35th minute through Jamie Mitchell. Confusion between Alex Watson and keeper Rhys Wilmot, a soft header from Danny Hinchelwood, and head coach Kevin Hodges knows he has plenty of work to do on the training ground next week. With Rodney Jack back to full fitness, Torquay were much more of a threat after the break, and it was a typical run from the Caribbean star that lined up an equaliser for Scott Stamps. It was the perfect end to an unsettling week for Stamps, who almost left Plainmoor for pastures new. The celebrations said it all, and with an excellent all-round performance and goals like this, he may decide to stay at Plainmoor a little longer. But despite Torquay's attacking flair, there were still some nervous moments at the other end. Again, it was the high, hopeful balls into the box that created the danger signals, and Scarborough had plenty of opportunities to regain the lead. They finally did it 19 minutes from the end, and yes, you've guessed it, a familiar story. This time, John Gittins was the guilty party as Bennett guided his header past Wilmot. The Torquay keeper certainly had his work cut out on a very difficult afternoon. Coming up, though, the perfect example of how to deal with a one-on-one situation. It's all about narrowing the angle and timing the dive. Wilmot did both to perfection to keep United in the game. In fact, they should have equalised after another one of those magic moments from Rodney Jack. Scott Stamps played his part, but substitute Wayne Hockley was left with the reddest face in town as he somehow managed to put the tap in wide. There may have been appeals for offside, but this is one moment Mr. Hockley will want to forget in a hurry. Any hopes Torquay had of snatching a point finally disappeared 5 minutes from time. Ben Worrell allowed far too much time and space wide on the right, and he made the very most of the opportunity with a pinpoint pass for Bennett to snatch his second and Scarborough's third. They stay on course for the playoffs, Torquay left to consider what might have been. It's an all too familiar story for the men from Plainmoor. Well, that defeat leaves Torquay 16th in the table. No real danger at the bottom, but 11 points away from the playoff zone. Looks like it's just pride to play for then in the closing weeks of the season. Well, that's it for another week. Hope you've enjoyed the programme. Thankfully, an awful lot has changed since then, not least the fact that 4-goal hero that day, Andy McFarlane, now plays for Torquay. So, would he score against his old club yesterday? Watching for us, Seth Conway.
One goal would do for McFarlane today, as he has only seen his side win once since his arrival in January. That was a victory over top-of-the-table Fulham. Scott Stamps is still here despite renewed interest from Colchester. He seems now likely to move. Stamps looking for McFarlane. Can't get there ahead of Satori, who handled, and it's a penalty for Torquay. It came from nowhere. Scott Stamps helped the ball into the penalty area, and Mark Satori, it did hit his hand. Whether it was deliberate or not is another matter, but the referee has pointed to the spot. Steve Winter has the responsibility of putting the penalty past Tim Clark in the Scunthorpe goal to give Torquay an early lead. It all came from the penalty decision against Mark Satori, but Steve Winter didn't care about that. He concentrated on the spot kick and put it wide of Clark. Torquay 1, Scunthorpe 0. Back to Hope. John Ayres calling for it on this near side. Manages to control the ball. Just looks for some movement inside. Instead goes wide to Gary Jones. Jamie Forrester's in the middle. If he can find him, well, it goes in towards that near post. And it's the equalising goal from Jamie Forrester. Signed for £50,000 from Grimsby yesterday. He's repaid his old manager Brian Laws, the new manager at Scunthorpe already, with the equalising goal. Forward to Jones. Gets the touch for Doria. It's going to come to Forrester, is it? Now to Jones, and that is 2-1. Graham Jones, opportunist strike on the edge of the area, and it's beaten Rhys Wilmot to put Scunthorpe into a 2-1 lead. Now, Graham Jones was lurking on the edge of that penalty box. The ball eventually came out to him, and through a crowd of players, Rhys Wilmot was unsighted, and it beat him. Torquay 1, Scunthorpe 2. Over the top this time for Jones to chase. Gittins is with him. Forrester's in the middle. John Eyre is on this side. Will he volley it first time? He does. And almost found the corner of Wilmot's net. John Eyre's coming up from his right back spot. Graham Jones saw him, played it in. He wasn't afraid to take the volley, and only just wide. Finds Jack. Neat ball through to Oatway. McFarlane is waiting on the penalty spot. Oatway looks to go himself, and perhaps the pass to McFarlane might have been better. Easy to say that in hindsight, but Oatway took far too long to get his shot in, and by that time Tim Clark had closed down the angle. Forrester. Now Patterson. Drilled straight into the referee. The play continues with Forrester. He's got Doria on the right. Forrester cuts back inside. Perhaps the pass would have been better for him. In the end, just leant back and put it over. Call to Oatway. Looking for Barrow. Scott Stamps wants it just inside, but Barrow takes his time over it before delivering, and Alan Nill gets the header out as far as Barrow. Now Oatway. Looking for Nelson, who's onside. And how Gary Nelson missed from there, only he will know. The ball came back over the top, and Gary Nelson wasn't offside, and from 6 yards out, failed to hit the target. Alex Watson stayed forward, and it's aimed towards Watson. Satori's header as far as Gary Nelson. Always controlled, just let him down. Seemed to have perhaps been brought down on the box, but Torquay's attack continues through Scott Stamps. Clark gets the parry, and Chris Hope couldn't finish off the job. Well, Scott Stamps certainly alive to that possibility of a shot, and Clark beat it away well. Watson's flick. Now McFarlane. Through to Ian Hathaway. Can he find Gary Nelson? It's Lee Barrow. And it was straight at Tim Clark. Lee Barrow come up from his defensive berth to be on the edge of the box, but his shot, well, it couldn't really go anywhere else but into Tim Clark's hands.
I hope we can actually pull ourselves out of it with a win sooner rather than later. We have got this sort of looking over your shoulder syndrome at the moment. You know, we're having a look at other results instead of actually doing it ourselves. And again today it was very disappointing for us. Kevin Hodges has said it's not time to panic, but soon if you're not picking up the points, it's going to be, isn't it? Yeah, I wouldn't say we're running out of games. We've got seven left, but we've got a bit of a tough run in, and we need to roll our sleeves up and get a result quickly. You got a goal through the penalty today, but missed a number of chances as well. Yeah, we had a good start. You know, we got a decision for the penalty, which is nice when you're at home and settles you down. But then we conceded straight away, so a little bit of panic set in. We missed a few more chances, and you think to yourself, are you going to score another one and win the game? And we didn't actually do that, and then they took the points off us.
Well, after being promotion contenders early in the season, Torquay are now down to 16th. They've got 45 points from their 39 games. Well, if you fancy seeing some live action this side down the table, the phone line's red hot at Playmore this week, and Gary Nelson persuaded former Charlton teammate and centre-half Dean Chandler to join the club until the end of the season. He made his debut at Lincoln.
Torquay arrived at Sincilbank in search of their first win in 12 games, and their cause wasn't helped when the new man at the heart of their defence suffered a knock early on. Dean Chandler eventually forced to leave the field midway through the first half after bumping into his own goalkeeper. By then, though, Torquay had begun to show some lively attacking touches, with the pace and skill of Rodney Jack posing a serious threat. His endeavour helped set up the best chance of a fairly uneventful first 45 minutes. A well-hit shot from Mark Hawthorne cleared off the line, with keeper John Vaughan beaten. Lincoln were made to pay for ignoring the destructive speed of Jack when they pushed up too far and left the Quicksilver Caribbean star with a clear run-in on goal. His decision to shoot early left Vaughan helpless and gave Torquay the lead with the second half just 6 minutes old. Jack may well have rediscovered his form just at the right time for Torquay as they attempt to salvage something from a disappointing season. The goal clearly gave the Gulls a boost in confidence, something that's been in short supply around the club during their alarming slump. And to prove it was no fluke, they struck again on 59 minutes. Torquay fans jumping at Jack's flashes of brilliance and Andy McFarlane displaying no mean skill himself to double the trouble for Lincoln. The big man was clearly delighted, and it was no more than Torquay's battling performance deserved. Head coach Kevin Hodges understandably delighted that his smash-and-grab strike force had done the business. There were a few jittery moments towards the end of the match after Lincoln had pulled a goal back with 11 minutes to go, setting up a grandstand finish. They're always a danger in the air, and Colin Alside made this corner count despite the efforts of Ian Hathaway on the line. But Torquay were resolute in their determination not to lose again, and when the odd crack did appear in their armour, goalkeeper Rhys Wilmot was equal to everything thrown at him. Wilmot's contribution helping ensure Torquay go into tomorrow's game with Northampton on a high. The biggest scare came in the dying moments of the game as Lincoln threw everything at the Gulls in their attempt to grab an equaliser. They thought they'd managed it when Phil Stamp forced the ball over the line from an almighty goalmouth scramble. Fortunately for Torquay, the officials had spotted at least one infringement in the melee, and that was the end of Lincoln's challenge.
It was nice to go back in the dressing room and give everybody praise rather than going in and giving them a bit of stick. But yes, I thought it was a very good performance. We worked extremely hard, we competed well, and two very good goals. And I thought our front two lads done very well today, Rodney Jack and Andy McFarlane. They worked extremely hard. Andy won nearly every header, and they both contributed on the goal sheet. So yeah, very pleased for them. But overall, I thought it was a very good team performance. My heart was thumping a little bit the last few minutes. They put us under a little bit of pressure, but we, like I say, we hung out and we got a deserved victory.
Brilliant result that for Torquay, a real morale booster for Kevin Hodges and his team. It leaves them 16th in the table now with 48 points from 40 games. Well, it was one of the most incredible nights of non-league football. We catch up.
Continued with a disappointing 2-1 defeat at home to playoff hopefuls Northampton. Perhaps the Gulls were distracted by the lovely weather, because they certainly seemed distracted by something, as the Cobblers scored 2 early goals to effectively kill off the match. Sean Parrish gave the visitors the lead on 17 minutes, and before Torquay had chance to realise what had hit them, they were 2-0 down just 104 seconds later. Northampton's Ian Sampson got the credit, but to be fair, it was an own goal off the head of Andy McFarlane. Kevin Hodges heavily criticised his side for their performance. The only bright spot was this goal from Rodney Jack.
St James's Park. Exeter and Torquay still have a lot to prove, and with bottom club Brighton picking up points all the time, there's certainly no room for complacency down in the lower reaches of Division 3. The match commentary comes from Martin Dean.
Well, it's 34 years since Torquay United last did the double over their Devon neighbours, and if they're to repeat their 2-0 success back at Plainmoor this afternoon, they're going to have to show a great upturn in the form book. They've managed just one win in the last 14 games. Exeter, on the other hand, should be full of confidence, having taken 7 points out of the last 9. And they know that if they win again today, they will go above Torquay in the table for the first time for some time. Well, both sides, ironically, without their pre-transfer deadline signings. Dean Chandler of Torquay and Paul Birch of Exeter, both injured, both ruled out. Looking to launch the long one. In towards McFarlane again. Blake underneath it. He didn't get it away. And Bayes having to make the save. It's Danny Hinshelwood who got in the header. Bayes getting down pretty well to it. Torquay just showing that they could be dangerous from that long throw-in situation. And Glenn Crowe getting the luck of the bounce off Matthew Wright. What can Crowe do here? Good save from Newland. And that will certainly save Matthew Wright's blushes. Good ball though for Glenn Crowe. Going to get the cross in towards Medlin. And the ball's gone behind him a little. Steele is outside him. Chance for him to get the cross in. Oh, flicked away well by Matthew Wright. forward. On chest off from Crowe for Rowbottom. It's played forward towards Darren Hughes, who's made a good run. Good challenge from Steve Winter. Just enough to put him off. Just still in possession though. Hughes looking to get the cross in this time towards the near post. Well taken by Ray Newland. As if he got a bit of a nudge there. He's still battling. Hawthorne eventually, who was penalised. Well, 3 Torquay players in there. Ricky Medlin, smaller than all of them, showing a fair bit of courage in that challenge. Blake and Hare on the far post, but that's straight into the arms of Newland. That was a little pressure from Rodney Jack. Now Rowbottom. Steele has made the forward run. He won't beat Watson, but Torquay still not getting the ball away. Rowbottom still going, looking for space for the shot. And right against the base of the post almost. And Darren Rowbottom. Ray Newland angry with his defenders. And with every reason, really. He had the opportunity to get the ball away. Failed to do so. Rowbottom, his persistence paying off in the end. And a good low shot. Just wide of Ray Newland's left-hand post. McFarlane looking to get through the middle. He was pulled back by Noel Blake, I think. McFarlane with a shot. Oh, what a goal from Andy McFarlane. Well, the Exeter players are protesting. Blake feeling that he was pulled back. Certainly there was almost a holding of hands between the two of them in the build-up to that goal. The goal has been given. It was a super strike from Andy McFarlane. Maybe looking to get it forward this time. Barrow putting it out for the throw. Matthew Hare coming a long way forward to take the throw. Hare then with the throw. Aimed in towards Glenn Crowe. Will come for Rowbottom, looking to drive it back across the face of the goal. And a super save from Ray Newland. It was Tim Steele who got the shot in. Well, Newland doing very well indeed to turn it over the bar. Came off McFarlane for the throw. Click on from Rowbottom. This is Bailey. Way through towards Rowbottom. Crowe with the shot. Steele. 1-1. Tim Steele gets the equaliser. Been denied a little earlier on. And Exeter back on level terms. Well, it was Darren Rowbottom who set it up. Made the ball across the face of the goal. Glenn Crowe was in there. The ball eventually coming for Tim Steele. A simple tap in for him. And that sets the game up nicely for the second half. Barrow with the throw. Wires missing his cue completely. He was intending to play it back to Bays. Jack finding Winter. Chance for him. Oh! Well, he needed to keep it down. Just failed to do so. Chris Myers almost setting up Torquay for a second goal. Missed kick from him. Finding Rodney Jack, and Jack's cross. Not a bad one to the far post. Winter certainly having the opportunity. Just not keeping the ball down. Bailey just getting a foot to it. The flag has stayed down. Crowe is onside. Can he make it two? Good save again from Ray Newland. Well, Ray Newland has been Torquay's saviour quite often this afternoon. It's twice now he's denied Glenn Crowe this afternoon on a one-on-one situation. No getting through, the flag staying down. Really, he should have scored from there. All credit to Newland for coming out and blocking the shot. Barrow with the throw. McFarlane getting a good flick on. Oakway. McFarlane. Oh, just a little bit of panic in that Exeter defence. Charlie Oakway getting the initial shot in. That one blocked. McFarlane having a stab at it. No real power behind it. It's been one of the few threats we've seen from Torquay in the second half.
I was pleased with the point. Under the circumstances, you know, it was a vital game for both teams. We both desperately needed the points. And, you know, we've gone in at 1-0 up, and I was quite pleased. A very good goal from Andy McFarland. But then we've more or less committed suicide early on in the second half. And from then on, I think it was constant pressure. We just couldn't seem to get out of our half. But on the defensive side, you know, we stuck at it and defended very well. And naturally, I'm pleased with the point. I was very pleased with Ray Newland's performance. I thought he commanded his area very well, made a number of crucial saves.
He made some vital saves for them. I mean, we created quite a few chances with Glenn and Darren Robottom. Both from the keeper managed to get something on it and get his body behind them and save them.
Slightly controversial goal from Torquay's point of view, a suggestion that there might have been a handball in there. Yeah, I mean, did you see it from where you were?
I think he's gone through. I saw a bit of a handball to start with when he pushed the ball straight through. As you see, the reactions from the lads, it was a bit disappointed. He took his goal well, but at the end of the day, the referee, that was his decision, and we just had to get on with it. In the end of the day, I think it was handball, but you know, what can you do when the referee's made a decision like that? You can't do anything else after that. You've got to get on with it, and to be fair, we came out second half and, you know, should have won the game, really.
The battling qualities were there today. And if we work hard enough, we'll grind results out, and if you keep getting results, confidence will then come back, and then we'll start playing some decent football again.
The games didn't go our way today, they're the results, but we're not relying on them. You know, we want to prove ourselves, we want to keep ourselves, we want to win for Exeter, all the fans, and keep ourselves out of trouble, you know, just by ourselves.
Well, that result leaves both Exeter and Torquay in the bottom third of the table. Just 2 points between the Devon rivals, but at least there's still a cushion to bottom club Brighton, who lost yesterday. Well, after the break, we catch the manager for Torquay, but after their dreadful slump, head coach Kevin Hodges knows he has some serious thinking to do as he plans for the next campaign. Some of his players under the spotlight then as Barnet came to town, and the commentator, Seth Conway.
3 points today for Torquay will ensure survival this season. Aiming to put a temporary halt on that will be former United striker Jamie Ndar. He scored for Barnet since the move, but today starts on the bench. Chandler can't get there with the head. Campbell. Hawthorne can finish the clearance off now, and it's a good one into the path of Rodney Jack. Can he score? He has done! Rodney Jack puts Torquay up after 10 minutes of this game. That was a great finish. He was put through from Mark Hawthorne. He turned the defence, and Rodney Jack decided to shoot early. It was the best option. Torquay take the lead. Torquay 1, Barnet 0. Hathaway and Hinshelwood organising proceedings, looking for McFarlane, who wins the header, and that's a super save. Twice from Lee Harrison. The free kick came in, McFarlane rose, got the header, and Lee Harrison turned that away, but his job wasn't finished, because there was Rodney Jack to hook it back. Jack. Now Chandler to McFarlane. As well, McFarlane to find Hinshelwood. That's good play with Danny Hinshelwood. Oh, just overran it. And there are appeals for a penalty there. And referee Rob Harris was well placed to make the decision. Decided it wasn't. But Danny Hinshelwood, that was a sensational run by him into the penalty area. Lee Howarth came across his back. Down he went. No penalty. Here's Oakway. Neat little turn from Oakway. Shame he just couldn't take it up a bit further. Perhaps Hathaway can. That's brought to an end by Wilson. Here is Hathaway. Now back to Oakway. Delivers looking for Hinshelwood. Ford helps it on its way to Campbell, who turns Lee Barrow. Tries to play in Dean Samuels, who's got the pace to beat Dean Chandler. Pulls it back. This is neat skills from Samuels. He finds Campbell. Will it be the equaliser? It is. Barnet are back on terms after a mazy run from Dean Samuels. Campbell applies the finish. Well, Barnet have been looking good on their counter-attacks. Dean Samuels made that one. He cut back inside, found Campbell, and Campbell slipped it inside Newland's near post. Torquay 1, Barnet 1. Can McFarlane get the flick? He can. There's Steve Winter, he's pulled it back well. Lee Harrison's fine save. And Mark Hawthorne couldn't finish it off. Well, Steve Winter did well to get himself some space. Lee Harrison did even better. And Mark Hawthorne just couldn't grab a second. Oatway to Winter, back to Charlie Oatway. Steve Winter still there. Oatway dinks it past Campbell. That's lovely play. Almost finds McFarlane. Super play from Lee Harrison. Could have been real danger there for Barnet as Charlie Oatway turned the defender before delivering across, and there was Harrison. Turned it away when McFarlane loomed. Plenty up for this Wilson corner. One of them is Jamie Ndar. He rises highest, and Lee Howarth gives Barnet the lead. It's been an inspired substitution to bring Jamie Ndar on. He's created the second goal. Over came the corner from Paul Wilson, and there was the former Torquay man to nod back across the goal, and Lee Howarth made sure that Barnet took the lead. Disappointing here, playing more. Torquay 1, Barnet 2. Hawthorne's header as far as Andy McFarlane. Now to Jamie Howe. Hawthorne to Lee Barrow. Can he make up this deficit? Well, he's found Rodney Jack. Turn finds Jamie Howe. Tries to get it back into the path of Jack. Now to Mark Hawthorne. And the linesman's flag, I think, indicates that it did get a deflection on its way over for a corner. Hawthorne really caught hold of that one and just took it up and over. Kevin, you were 1-0 up today. You ended up losing 2-1. It must be just as frustrating as the position you're in.
Yes, the torture goes on for another few weeks, but yeah, you know, we've got a nice early goal. We've done that actually 4 out of the last 5 home games, given ourselves a great chance, but failed to build on it, and then through some bad defending, we've allowed them back into the game. And from that moment on, the confidence seemed to suffer, and our performance was very poor in the second half, and very disappointed about it. You know, it's up to us what we do between now and the end of the season. We've got to pick up some points, and obviously the quicker the better. You know, I was hoping we were going to do that today to end all the speculation of whether we're going to be in it or not. But we failed to do that, and we're making things very difficult for ourselves.
So just a point now between Torquay and Exeter near the bottom of the table, both almost safe. With 3 games to go, Hereford, Hartlepool and Brighton are the realistic relegation candidates. Well, there's midweek action on Tuesday. Plymouth Argyle away to Notts County between Hereford and Torquay. Kevin Hodges desperate to see his side round off the season with some bright performances and provide a platform for success next season. So could the theory be turned into practice? Trina Lake reports.
With relegation to the Vauxhall Conference still a mathematical possibility, this was a dogfight Torquay simply couldn't afford to lose. Hereford started the game in even deeper trouble, with bottom club Brighton breathing down their necks. And their anxiety showed as they struggled to contain the explosive potential of Rodney Jack. He set up Torquay's first real chance of the game, but Andy McFarlane couldn't make his header count. Jack went close to breaking the deadlock himself midway through the first half, when the Hereford defence again found themselves mesmerised by some clever work from the Caribbean. Trevor Wood just managed to keep the ball out of the net, but with Jack around, he certainly had to be on his toes all afternoon. Torquay's rising star from St Vincent clearly doesn't lack confidence, and Torquay will surely struggle to hang on to him, with a number of Premiership clubs on his trail. What odds on a big money move for Jack this summer? The Gulls were comfortably the better side in the first half, and they finally made a period of sustained pressure pay off just before the break. They forced a series of corners, and when Ian Hathaway got the delivery absolutely right, Steve Winter was there to apply the finishing touch. The former Taunton fullback enjoyed his magic moment, and the goal was reward for Torquay's positive performance. Hereford really have had a winter of discontent. The same player also grabbed the winner when they were beaten 2-1 at Plainmoor in October. But if Torquay's dedicated band of travelling fans thought that goal would provide the platform for their side to go on and achieve only their 5th away win in the league this season, they were to suffer disappointment. Hanging on to a lead has often proved a problem for the Gulls this season, and Hereford boss Graham Turner might well have mentioned that to his players at half-time. He made a couple of tactical switches at the start of the second half, and they paid off when substitute Tony Igana swept home the equaliser.